Alright, so I don't really plan on doing too much commentary to the actual game, but I will read out the mission stuff, and this is primarily going to be going over the lore in this video. So, clan history, origins. From Kerensky's stars came the 800, beneath a banner of truth and righteous light, to lift up those who had suffered, and to smite down with fearful vengeance those who had ruled, in the name of vanity or greed. The thunder of their battle mechs fleet, the lightning from their weapons, and the blood spilled in their name, created the clan spirit, the forge upon which we have fashioned ourselves to be the weapon of the resurrected Star League, honed to a razor's edge by the trials, by the remembrance, and by the words of the great Kerensky, our sires, our saviors. The Remembrance passage 98, verse 24, lines 8p20. Nicholas planned the retaking of the Pentagon worlds for 20 years, while he waited, aided by Jennifer Winson, his wife and most trusted confidant. He moved to rid his supporters of the last vestiges of that contaminated society that gave us such woe. Central to his plan was the complete and total reorganization of his military. He declared the traditions of the regular army hopelessly tainted by its sinful past. He organized his strike force of 800 into 20 clans of 40 warriors each. Gone were the lances, companies, battalions, and regiments favored by the Star League. As their base, the clans used stars of 5 mech warriors each. 2 stars formed a binary, and 4 binaries formed a cluster. Each clan was a cluster, and several clusters formed a galaxy. The most reliable evidence indicates that this germinal force contained 5 galaxies, but conflicting records place the number at 3 to 7 galaxies. The original 800 warriors proved crucial to the final form of the clan structure. Star League ranks and every other aspect of that army glorifying the individual were replaced by an organization stressing ongoing testing. The new order also stressed that each clan was a family, a society unto itself. Using battle mechs from caches on Strana Mechti, Nicholas equipped and trained his army according to his vision. When the newly formed clans finally returned to the worlds of the Pentagon, they found a nightmare situation. From the descriptions of lore masters and the intelligence holotapes taken by Nicholas's forces, it is clear that the Exodus Civil War was far more devastating than any of our succession wars. The soldiers who survived faced the clans in barely functional mechs. Even though the rebels on each of the 5 worlds had numerical superiority, the firepower and reliability of the clan battle mechs won the day. Battles were bitterly fought, and many clan warriors died. Nicholas Kerensky suffered personal losses. In the final battle for Eden, his younger brother Andrei was ambushed and killed by 5 rebel battle mechs. Within a year, however, the Pentagon worlds were beaten and forced to acknowledge the supremacy of Nicholas and his clans. Many of the survivors hailed Nicholas as savior. His physical appearance, strikingly similar to his father's, added to his mystique. The supplies he distributed freely saved countless lives. The survivors were so grateful to him and so unbalanced by the events of the past 20 years that they virtually worshipped Nicholas. In fact, they often hailed him as his father, a mistake Nicholas seemed reluctant to correct. The Exodus Civil War took a tremendous toll on the populations of the Pentagon worlds. A census taken after Nicholas's invasion found that the survivors numbered less than half the population of General Kerensky's Exodus. The war had cost millions of lives. Society. 5, Nicholas proclaimed, was the foundation upon which our true society was to be built. Laborers to till the land, to do the tasks, they shall have our undying gratitude, for they are the muscle behind us all. Merchants to buy and sell with fairness, they shall have our commerce and respect, for they are the bones upon which we are built. Technicians to build and fix the machines, they shall have our admiration, for they are the fingers with which we grasp life. Scientists to create and discover, they shall have our awe and our attention, for they are the mind of our society. And above all, the warriors who protect, they shall have our cooperation and worship, for they are the blood and soul of us all. The Remembrance, passage 67, verse 26, lines 21p, 37. Nicholas's new order carried his father's words to an extreme. He gave his father's hidden hope doctrine to the survivors once again, admonishing them to grow, mature, and eliminate the greed that had caused them so much misery. He promised that one day their great-grandchildren, united and strong, would return to the inner sphere and restore the Star League. He said, but the first step on that road is to devote our efforts toward personal and clan growth. We must destroy our greed and false patriotism when building the clans. We will purge our old ideals and ethics. Those belong to the corrupt stars of the inner sphere, and will not serve as we begin anew. Now, while our minds are open and yearning for new insight, we must remold them and fill them with the truth of our destiny, for we are destined to be not only different from those we left behind, but better. My father knew this, and saved us from the holocaust of the inner sphere. I accept it as truth, and have returned to lead you, the survivors of this most bitter trial. I am certain that, in our heart of hearts, we all realize our vital importance to the future of all humanity. True to his word, Nicholas began to purge all vestiges of the inner sphere and the old ways. One of his first actions was to scatter the survivors, relocating them among the Pentagon and cluster worlds to make certain that old affiliations to inner sphere societies would not be revived. He formally outlawed any loyalties outside the clans. He erased all mention of prior residence or lineage from every personal record, replacing them with clan affiliation and current residence. Every survivor, civilian and military alike, was assigned to one of the 20 clans. Public mission of the inner sphere, except to criticize it, was made a punishable offense. What is amazing is not the lengths to which Nicholas went in shaping his new society. Other despots have gone just as far. What made his efforts unique was the absolute lack of resistance, a sure sign that the Exodus Civil War was fully as traumatic as the remembrance reports. The survivors were willing to do anything to avoid a repetition of the war's devastation. Even taking that into account, it is difficult to understand these people's blind acceptance of Nicholas's new order. They were brothers and sisters to our ancestors 250 years ago, yet have been tempered by a stronger flame. Now they are so utterly alien that it is hard to accept that they are human. They are still our brothers and sisters, but hardened to a point that we fear even in our nightmares. Nicholas strengthened the warriors of the clans with edicts based on the writings of his father, which he gave his own unique interpretation. Nicholas imposed many rules derived from such works as a primer of tactics and strategy and applied concepts of attack and defense, both written by his father. The general's 12 principles of command seems to be the basis of the clan's internal bidding process for tests of combat, and General Order 137 is the basis for clan justice. These edicts are written and presented in a way that more resembles divine revelation than orders from a commanding officer. Nicholas seems to have adapted this tone deliberately. He was trying to instill in his people a sense of religious devotion toward the clans. Nicholas believed that unless the clans were fully functional and firmly established before he died, they would revert back to the old, corrupt ways upon his death. He realized that 800 clan warriors was not enough to fulfill his goals, nor would normal birth rates expand their number quickly enough. Nicholas needed a way to accelerate the growth of his new society. For civilians, Nicholas instituted an ambitious breeding program that gave each clan the right to arrange mandatory marriages within trades, such as merchant with merchant or mechanic with mechanic. He also mandated the number of children each match could produce. The children of these marriages were eligible for only a narrow range of professions based upon their parents' trade. But if they tested successfully, only if they tested successfully. Those who failed were sent to a lower trade or caste. Occasionally, a child tested so well that he was placed into a higher caste. These exceptional offspring are infrequent, but are considered vital to the quality of the gene pool. Within a few years, Nicholas swept aside the concepts of marriage for love and free choice of jobs, replacing them with arranged marriages and a rigid caste system. If the civilians chafed under the new rules and regulations governing their lives, they could still be thankful they were not members of the warrior caste. Nicholas envisioned his warriors as the true standard-bearers of the Star League heritage, but knew that all his efforts would come to nothing if their number could not be quickly increased. Before returning to the Pentagon worlds, he spent long hours consulting with his scientists. On the eve of their departure, he announced that a warrior offspring were to carry he announced that as warrior offspring were to carry on the legacy of the Star League, they must be brought forth into the universe as quickly as possible. The warriors were required to donate genetic materials to what can only be described as baby factories. A systematic eugenics program placed sperm and ova in artificial wombs called canisters by clan warriors, and produced a new generation selected and bred to be superior to the previous one. Using this process, the scientists produced 20 children per birthing from the genetic material of one pair. Following Nicholas's directives, the pair's clan then raised this sibling company, using continual testing and education to weed out those not fit for the warrior caste. New generations were produced in this fashion every year, 10 years, creating thousands of new clan warriors and adding to the ranks of the citizenry. Though Nicholas was careful to state that the motive of this forced breeding program was to enable the clan's return to the inner sphere, he must also have been trying to produce significant warriors to control any future unrest. Another reliable source indicates that most of what I have reported concerning the warrior caste system is of questionable accuracy. My source indicated that it was formed from only 600, not 800 warriors, and that a typical Sibco consists of 100 Sibkin, not 20. Sibkin are also not necessarily genetically related. My source recently died under questionable circumstances, so I may never discover the truth about the warrior caste. Sibco children face continual testing of their abilities. On the average, fewer than one-fourth of any given Sibco actually become warriors. Those who cannot pass the testing are assigned to one of the lower castes, as their talents dictate. An unspoken but obvious goal of the eugenics program is the removal of tainted genes. Nicholas determined that anyone who remained on the Pentagon worlds during the Exodus Civil War was suspect, and so that person's genes would not be passed on. By limiting the number of free births, uncontrolled births, among the descendants of these families, and by favoring the descendants of loyal warriors who entered the lower caste, the program eventually included only the genetic legacy of those followers Nicholas deemed unquestionably loyal: 800 warriors and 600 civilian families. 5 castes make up the structure of clan society: warrior, scientist, merchant, technician, and laborer. A 6th caste, called the Dark or Bandit caste, exists unofficially for those who cannot or will not fit into mainstream society. Each caste has myriad subcastes based on specialities within a professional field. Warrior caste. Warriors are obviously the most powerful caste. The vast majority of warriors proudly trace their lineage directly to the 800 blood named. Each looks like the product of the genetic breeding program. Clan MechWarriors are robust, with lightning-quick reflexes and quicker intelligence. Fighter pilots are thin, their heads disproportionately large and with far-seeing eyes. Elementals, the clan infantry, are large, unusually strong soldiers possessed of grace and speed far exceeding what is expected of people of such intimidating size. The warrior caste eugenics program is a completely alien means of reproduction. It seems cold and analytical, making no allowance for the passion and love we consider necessary to a full life. Warriors, however, gain great comfort and strength from their sense of belonging to the Sibco, and from their unbroken lineage to Kerensky's 800. Each warrior's lineage is recorded in his codex, a copy of which is electronically stored in a band worn on his right forearm. A warrior's career, from his first Sibco test to his dying oath, is recorded by the codex and analyzed by his clan. If a warrior's deeds are judged worthy, his genetic material helps create the next generation. Failure means the termination of his or her line. It is little wonder that the drive to excel overshadows all other considerations. Seldom do free births, those not born from the eugenics program, win a chance to join the warrior caste. Those who do are usually consigned to garrison or paramilitary police units with little hope of advancing into a level where their genes would be incorporated into the warrior pool. This disregard for free birth warriors may be changing The growing responsibility given free birth warriors in recent decades is best exemplified by Jamie and Joshua Wolf's command of the Wolf Dragoons. The Wolf and Coyote clans count more free births among their members than any other clans. Scientist Caste. The Scientist Caste has two responsibilities: continued technological development and genetic control of the population. The Warriors' eugenics program naturally occupies a place of prime importance in their work. Assignment to the Scientist Caste is considered a high honor for civilians because it literally holds the future of the clans in its hands. This caste is also responsible for educating and testing all free births. Merchant Caste. The Merchant Caste is powerful because it controls all commerce within the clans. The merchant's economic power is held in check by the Warrior Caste's monopoly over jump ship travel. Though merchants own their own vessels, explicit laws require that all vessels carry warriors for protection. Long journeys are allowed only with a naval escort. This arrangement effectively prevents merchants from gaining too much power. The merchants still feel free, however, to criticize the warrior caste for the way the merchant caste's affairs are handled. Indeed, many suggest that the impetus for the invasion of the Inner Sphere originated in the merchant caste, which was eager to pursue new monetary endeavors. The merchants are the most rebellious of the lower castes, though some have suffered severe punishment for their protests. The clan Widowmaker merchants, for example, precipitated an internal dispute with the warrior caste that ultimately led to the whole clan's annihilation. This is described more fully in the next chapter. Technician Caste. The Technician Caste is less defined than the others. In general, a member of the Technician Caste is responsible for the upkeep, repair, and operation of complicated equipment, including everything from a cyclotron to an agribot to a battle mech. In fact, a technician's status in clan society is directly related to the caste he is supporting. Thus, technicians assigned as support for a battle mech star are much higher in status than technicians assigned to maintain agribots, even though the two groups possess the same skills. Laborer Caste. The Laborer Caste is both the largest and lowest level caste in the official clan hierarchy. This caste farms the lands, operates the factories, and provides all basic services. In short, it is composed of the common citizens. During my stay with the clans, I never encountered a member of this caste except for the bondsmen, captured warriors of other clans serving as laborers while working to regain their warrior status aboard their ships. Bandit Caste. This caste is not recognized by clan society, yet it exists. Sometimes referred to as the Dark Caste, it supports the failures of clan society, the unwanted, and the rejects. How or where they live is unknown, but clan literature is filled with stories of malcontents who fled to the bandit caste and came to unsavory ends. Warriors who fail to test out or who grow too old to be of service sometimes slip into this caste, as do scientists whose discoveries are deemed counterproductive to the clans. The Dark Caste has a voice in clan affairs because their group is not sanctioned. Bandit Caste atrocities are the stuff of legends, but it is difficult to believe that the caste is strong enough to be more than a minor nuisance to the clans. cynics suggest that the bandit caste exists solely to sharpen developing warriors' fighting edge. Government. Each clan is ruled by a council composed of its blood-named warriors. The clan council elects 2 ruling clans. One clan serves as the clan's senior military commander and the executor of that clan's bureaucracy. The other clan's position is more nebulous. He or she is second in command and enjoys a high status within the clan, but the position does not include specific duties. These must be assigned by the senior clan. Clan councils control their warriors and members of all other castes belonging to that clan. The interactions between a clan council and the various caste governments is extremely convoluted, but when necessary, the clan council can invoke the Satara, an overriding veto. The clans of all the clans form the Grand Council, which passes judgment on matters affecting clan society as a whole. Nicholas Kerensky erected the Hall of Clans on Stranamekti for this important governing body. His father's tomb dominates a small, awe-inspiring chapel on one side of the hall. Nearby are smaller, though no less impressive, halls for each clan. The supreme ruler of the clans is the Ilkhan. This position is filled only when the clans must coordinate their efforts for some task, or during times of great internal or external threat. A simple majority vote in the Grand Council can elect an Ilkhan. However, those who oppose the election can usually do demand a trial of refusal. See below. Nicholas Kerensky appointed himself the first Ilkhan of the clans in the summer of 2015. 2815, he was unopposed. One of the most far-reaching measures Nicholas instituted was the elimination of surnames. Surnames were too closely associated with the corruption of the inner sphere. Kerensky allowed only the loyal 800 to retain their surnames. These 800 family names are the basis for the blood names. In fact, it is considered a deliberate affront to a society to give a child 2 names or to adopt a second personal name unless it is an earned blood name. The second name can only be interpreted as an intentional slur on the honor and dignity of the blood names. Oh, that one's pretty short. Okay. Now this one is not. Trials. And Minaka Widowmaker spoke. I claim the blood name Watermark. It was my mother's and my mother's father's. It is mine by association and blood pride. The council was stunned and outraged by her lack of respect for the clan ways. Then the Ilkhan rose and spoke wise words. Such a claim is not freely granted, Minaka. Although your blood may cry out, Watermark, it is your muscle and mind that will make it so. Remember the rede of our past, Widowmaker, and do not ask words to win what the trial decides. If strong, you will win the right. But do justice to our future by remembering our past, young one. Those are my words, that is my judgment. The Remembrance, passage 167, verse 34, lines 33p, 48. Nicholas was determined that civil war would not claim his new society. Instead of banning warfare, which he considered part of human nature, he created controlled conflicts through regulations and rituals. Thus, the 6 trials of combat were established. Each trial begins with the Bachal, the formal challenge by which the aggressor announces to his opponent his intentions, his goal, and his fighting force. The trial of grievance, honor duel. When disputes arise between individual warriors that neither they nor their immediate superiors can resolve, both warriors must petition to have their differences heard by the clan council or the grand council if the opponents are blood named or hold important rank. Until the council rules, the disputants are bound by clan law to avoid any unnecessary contact. This may be carried to the point of one transferring to another unit. If one takes aggressive action against the other before the council rules, or if he disagrees with the council's decision, he or she has committed a breach of clan law, punishable by expulsion into a lesser caste or out of the clan society entirely. If a grievance cannot be resolved by the clan, by the council, a trial of grievance is called. The rules governing the trial are many and strict. If the combatants are MechWarriors or fighter pilots of different weight class vehicles, the council must make the contest more even. Often a vehicle type that is midway in size is chosen, and the disputants have several weeks to become accustomed to their new vehicle. If the disputants are from different branches of the warrior caste, then some kind of middle ground, such as fencing with Medusa whips, is chosen. If the two are dissimilar in physique, such as an aerospace pilot and an elemental, then they must choose proxies to fight for them or forget the grievance altogether. The trial itself is judged by members of the council who ensure that trial and combat etiquette is strictly heeded. A circle of equals is defined, anything from 10 meters in diameter for a hand-to-hand trial to more than 100 kilometers wide for an air duel. No one but the combatants may enter this circle of equals unless invited, and leaving the circle before the contest is ended is a shameful defeat. All trials are defined as to the death, but they usually end before either combatant is killed. This elaborate system of decisions and regulations is designed to outlast the anger that sparked the trial, and that is usually the case. Some records indicate, however, that sometimes the anger between two warriors or two sets of warriors outlasts even the trial of grievance, degenerating into what we would all call a feud. The most notorious and well-documented failure of the grievance trial system involved the Nicholas Pride Sibcoe and the Blue Devil kibbutz of Clan Smoke Jaguar. The Blue Devil warriors maintained a grudge for several generations based on an imagined slight during a Smoke Jaguar council ceremony. Other tales suggest that many honor duels are resolved less formally and swiftly than official sources dictate. For example, a trial of grievance between two Sipkin rarely draws the attention of the clan council. Instead, a circle of equals is drawn immediately, and the two fight under the supervision of an instructor until one is knocked from the circle. Trial of position. Trials of position determine rank and honors. The trial of position determines whether a cadet becomes a warrior, as well as whether a warrior deserves a promotion to the next level of training. The trial is a combat situation in which the candidate usually faces selected superiors one at a time with live weapons. The candidate's success determines how far he advances in rank and responsibility. The use of live weapons for what is essentially an examination seems barbaric and wasteful of human life to those outside the clans. An accident can easily cut short a promising career or life. It is one of the best examples of how little regard the clans have for individual life in their quest for social supremacy. Even if the goal is worthy, it is worth the cost in suffering and human. Even if the goal is worthy, is it worth the cost in suffering and human life? When asked this question, a clansman most often reacts with a blank stare. The concept of individuality is as alien to the clanspeople as they are to us. Those who understand that it is a question of balance can answer easily. Okay, see, this is what I don't understand is who wrote this. It's not coming from a clansman. So I don't know who wrote all of this. But it seems like it's a person in the world who's gathered all this information. Anyways, those who understand that it is a question of balance can answer easily. The cause is worth everything, the individual nothing. If a warrior is unwilling to risk his life for the good of the clans, he cannot claim the status of warrior and is of no use to the clans. His fellow clansmen would prefer to discover this in the test than in the heat of battle. Therefore, they see no point in using powered-down weapons when a warrior is training to face real weapons. Throughout a cadet's training and a warrior's career, he continually undergoes trials of position. From the Sibco on, a warrior must face many trials. The early trials would be familiar to us in the inner sphere as simple exams. The trials grow progressively harder, however, and the cadet's attitude and mental endurance is tested as well as his knowledge of facts. The trial position is also a cadet's final trial. During this test, 2 cadets face 6 frontline warriors with weapons at full power. Each candidate faces 3 of the experienced warriors who attack one at a time. If a candidate attacks any of the warriors assigned to another cadet, they are free to return fire, and the combat becomes a general melee. To pass the trial, a candidate must defeat at least one of his opponents. If he does so, he becomes a warrior and enters active service. Defeat of 2 opponents earns the rank of Star Commander. Defeat of 3, a rare accomplishment, ranks the candidate as a Star Captain. Defeat of 4 requires cooperation between the 2 candidates, in that one surrenders a potential kill to the other. On only one occasion has a candidate defeated 4 opponents in a trial position. Natasha Kerensky accomplished this feat and earned the rank of Star Colonel upon her recent return to the clans. A warrior can be required to repeat the trial of position at any time in his career, especially when continuing ability to perform is in question, as it was with Natasha Kerensky's, or when he is in line for promotion. Trial of Bloodrot. The clans have approximately 760 blood names. the name of each of the 800 warriors who joined Nicholas Kerensky and refused to take part in the Exodus Civil War is considered a blood name. Less than 40 names removed when the not named clan was annihilated. Clan tradition dictates that only 25 living clan warriors may hold the same blood name, and each must have a direct matrilineal link to the original progenitor. Each clan originally claimed rights only to the blood names of the 40 warriors Nicholas Kerensky assigned to that clan. This organization gradually blurred as clans fought each other in trials of possession for specific warriors' genes to enhance their individual clan. Even if warriors became Aptaka captured by another clan, they still retained the right to claim a blood name belonging to their former clan. In this way, more than one clan could claim the same blood name. Additional cross-naming took place when two clans were disbanded and their blood names spread among the other clans. There are still some blood names, however, that are the exclusive property of a clan. The Kerensky and Ward blood names, for example, are still held only by warriors of the Wolf Clan. Winning a blood name is a warrior's gratitude of clan immortality. Not only is he honored with the right to use the blood name as his own, but he becomes eligible for high military and political positions. Most important to the blood-named warriors is the fact that, barring any subsequent action that would bring them shame, their genes will contribute to the gene pool for the next generation. The remains of most blood-named warriors are returned to one of the 800 memorial chapels built by Nicholas Kerensky on Strana Mechti to honor each of the original 800 warriors. There, the ashes of each blood-named warrior lie with the ashes of the other warriors of the same blood name in the ornate tomb of their honored namesake. When a blood-named warrior dies, a trial of blood right is declared. The current blood-named warriors of that name each select one nominee from the pool of eligible candidates. The blood name's leader nominates additional warriors to bring the number to 31 candidates. The 32nd slot is reserved for all other eligible candidates, those who were not nominated but who still wished to compete for a blood name. This group engages in a grand blood name melee, with the survivor being awarded the 32nd slot. The 32 candidates then begin a series of one-on-one duels that eventually result in one victor, who is rewarded the blood name. This fulfills Nicholas Kerensky's requirement that a blood name be won by defeating all others who make a claim to that name. Though winning any blood name is significant, it is interesting to note that considerable prestige is attached to certain blood heritages, because lineage is traced Because lineage is traced matrilineally, each warrior is only qualified to compete for one blood name. It is not uncommon for an ambitious warrior to decline nomination for what he considers an inferior blood name, in hopes of competing for a better blood name later on. Okay, this word right here, I can't say it. Trial of possession. The fourth type of combat trial is conducted when two or more clans claim the rights to the same thing, be it territory, a warrior's genes, or even supremacy in a conflict of opinion. Nicholas Kerensky created this combat trial within a year of the end of the Civil War. As a reward for their loyal support, Kerensky decided that each clan should receive half of one of the colonized clan worlds and small shares of the others. Stranamekti would remain neutral. The clans had to determine among themselves who would possess what area. If two or more clans wanted the same piece of land, their claims would subject to a trial possession. This policy resulted in many hard-fought battles to determine which clans got the lion's share of the better worlds and how the remaining lands were to be divided. A trial of possession is initiated when the attackers issue a formal challenge to the defenders. The attackers identify themselves, state their objective, and ask the defender what forces he will use. For example, Star Colonel Adler Malthus began the campaign against Twycross with this challenge: I am Star Colonel Adler Malthus of the Falcon Guards. What forces defend this world? The challenge changes to fit the objective. If, for example, the challenger is over the challenge is over the rights of two genetic material, part of the challenge might be stated in the following manner: what forces defend the spawn of Dan Kryla? The defenders then state what forces they will place in defense of the objective. They also have the right to name the location of the trial. The defenders may increase the stakes by demanding a prize of equal or lesser value if they win. This option available to the defender is largely unknown in the inner sphere, but explains why Hero Kurita was able to bargain with the clan commander at Wolcott. The attackers' sub-commanders then bid among themselves for the right to engage in a trial. The sub-commander who bids to fight with the fewest forces wins the right and responsibility to make the attack. Clans can keep prisoners taken during such trials to serve as bondsmen, laborers for the clan, or else these individuals may be sent back to their original clan with little honor lost. Bondsmen must serve the clan until the clan council decides to reinstate their rights as a warrior. A clan can formally adopt captured warriors if the clan council considers them an asset to its forces. Once a warrior is officially adopted into a new clan, he regains his warrior status. Bidding in trials of possession favor commanders who succeed using minimal forces. Nicholas used these methods to prevent all-out war and the catastrophic loss of industry and civilian life that inevitably accompanies it. Trial of Refusal. The clan councils and the Grand Council, like any legislative body, vote on laws and actions that affect the community. Unlike inter-sphere legislative bodies, however, any decision can be challenged and reversed by a trial of refusal. These trials afford the losing side the right to deem that the trial be settled by combat. The forces used in a trial of refusal are determined on a prorated basis. The side rejecting the vote declares what forces they will use. The winning side can field a force equal to the ratio of winning votes to losing votes. If, for example, the contested vote carried by a 3-to-1 margin, those on the winning side of the issue can field a force 3 times the size of the force of those challenging the decision. The traditional bidding by subcommanders usually results in a smaller attacking force, however. If this trial process is taken to its logical conclusion, it is possible that a subcommander might vote for a decision he actually opposed, and then bid so low that the decision could be overturned. My suggestion that a warrior might consider this course of action was met with shock and frozen silence. One lore master refused any further interviews, and another prohibited me from any contact with the warriors of his clan. Such a breach of honor is clearly unthinkable. An interesting variation of the trial of refusal is the absorption right. The Grand Council can vote to allow one clan to absorb another, but only by a unanimous vote, excepting the clan being absorbed. The council then determines which clan will benefit from the absorption. Naturally, the clan to be absorbed would demand a trial of refusal. Naturally, the clan to be absorbed would demand a trial of refusal. The clan chosen to absorb the weaker clan may also be challenged by others in a trial of refusal, even before battling the clan to be absorbed. The resulting trials can last for years. Wolf won the right to absorb Widowmaker in 2825, for example, but had to defeat 3 other clans for that right. The Trial of Annihilation. A trial of annihilation is the most extreme punishment the clans can declare. It goes beyond the question of right and wrong. A trial of annihilation virtually guarantees that the warrior will die and that his genes will be eliminated from the clan's gene pool. This trial can only be invoked by unanimous vote of the appropriate council, and only for the most heinous crimes against clan society. That's the last one. Trials of annihilation have been declared against warriors, stars, and even clusters, but only once has an entire clan suffered this ultimate punishment, because any mention of the clan involved in this it's the not named clan. Because any mention of the clan involved in this trial of annihilation, it is a punishable is punishable by a trial of grievance. No clansman would reveal the name of the not named clan. The details behind its annihilation were also impossible to discover. However, careful research into the remembrance and artfully phrased questions point to the clan Wolverine as the object of this trial of annihilation. But wasn't there another? Where was that? Was it in government? Let's see here. Okay, this part in clan society. The clan Widowmaker merchants, for example, precipitated an internal dispute with the warrior caste that ultimately led to the whole clan's annihilation. So, Wolverine is not the only clan that's been annihilated, but that made it seem like that's the only one that has been. I don't know. Anyways, so that's the trials. Let's take a look at original clans. It's pretty long too. Okay, Nicholas Kerensky named the original clans after beasts, entities, or attributes he felt would inspire his warriors. Each exemplifies some worthy feature that he wished his warriors to reflect. Wolves, for example, were admired for their cunning and stealth. 17 clans remain of the original 20. 2 of the missing clans were absorbed by other clans through trials and grand council rulings. The third clan is spoken of only as the not named clan. The reasons for which are discussed in the main body of this text. Suffice to say that the crime committed was considered so heinous that all mention of the clan was purged from the official history of the clans. Following is a list of the original 20 clans and the origin of their names. Okay. Blood Spirit. This name honors the Spirit, the Corp. I have no idea. Whatever. That held together the 800 blood-named warriors during the horrors of the Exodus Civil War. Esprit de Corps. Have no idea what that means. It's a common spirit of camaraderie, ship, enthusiasm, well, okay, whatever. Burrock. This clan is named for the burrock, a large invertebrate indigenous to Eden. The burrock is capable of burrowing through solid rock. It excretes a powerful acidic mucus which allows it to move through rock. Yeah. Cloud Cobra. The Cloud Cobra was introduced to Arcadia and adapted quickly to its new environment. It evolved to prey on fauna in the planet's misty jungles. Coyote. This Stronamecti carnivore descended from coyotes found on the North American continent of Terra. This coyote is larger and apparently much more intelligent than the Terran species, perhaps because of genetic engineering. Fire Mandrill. This name is taken from a primate introduced to Eden whose aggressiveness and fire-red fur were admired by warriors. Ghost Bear. The clan is named for the Arctic bear that inhabits Stranamichte's southern hemisphere. It is admired for its strength and cunning. Goliath scorpion. The large Babylon arthropod for which this clan is named uses lethal poison to kill its prey. Many of the early settlers lost their lives to this creature. It is admired for its suicidal defense of its nests. Hell's horses. In an attempt to genetically adapt horses to life in the deserts of Circe, clan scientists bred carnivorous horses of uncontrollable aggressiveness. The prototypes of these horses were intended to be terminated, but a tender-hearted warrior set them free to live and breed in the deserts. These horses have a peculiar fascination for Circe's many caves. The clan has embraced the aggressiveness and hardy stock of its namesake. Ice Hellion. Even though this cunning pack predator of Hector's snowy mountains preyed on the first clan explorers, it was admired for its snowy mountains preyed on. Okay. It was admired for its lithe shape and blindly white fur. Jade falcon. The jade falcon is a large bird that was genetically altered from a Terran peregrine to live in the jungles of Eden. It has a distinctive shimmering emerald green plumage and an ear-piercing cry. Peregrine. That's the word. There's just so many words here that I don't really know, so I have to pause and go look them up and learn how to pronounce them. Okay, mongoose. One of the absorbed clans, the mongoose, was named after the sinuous predator found on the planet Shadow. It stalked and killed that world's large, dangerous venom worms, which endeared it to the clans. Novacat, the Dagda feline, whose mane stands on the end, like a sudden nova, whenever it is alarmed, was the inspiration for this clan name. Its mane is tipped with barbs containing a substance poisonous to most creatures. The Nova cat is admired for its alert response to danger. Sea fox. This clan takes its name from the seal-like reptilian predator of Stranamichte's freshwater oceans. The sea fox appears to honor its prey by bellowing and then bowing, as though in respect for its kill. Smoke jaguar. Smoke jaguar is an altered Terran jaguar let loose in the jungles of Stranamicchte, so named because its fur looks like grayish smoke. Nicholas Kerensky held up the smoke jaguar as the epitome of unadulterated aggressiveness, citing as proof the animal's ferocity and its habit of springing on its prey from above. Snow raven. This clan name was inspired by the huge ravens inhabiting Stranamichte's. It seems like most of the names come from this place. Southern tundra. The warriors honor the creature's unwillingness to waste anything the tundra offers them, the sign of a true survivor. Star Adder. The star adder is a genetically altered adder that was released into the northern steppes of Stranamekti to control the disease-carrying crana, a rodent-sized insect. The snake's shimmering black scales, peppered with white spots, might be reason enough to call it the star adder. The real source of its name, however, is its nightly rearing and swaying in response to almost constant stellar displays resembling the aurora borealis. Steel Viper. This clan name refers to the tenacious Arcadian snake that coils around its victims in a solid grip, then slowly releases a poison. The word steel refers to both its unyielding embrace and the rigidity of its victims once they have been thoroughly poisoned. Widowmaker. The second absorbed clan was named for the Black Widow. Okay, so it was absorbed, not annihilated. Was named for the Black Widow spiders accidentally released into the jungles of Eden. How do you do that? Where they grow to 3 times their Terran size. Their aggressiveness and the strength of their poison increased at the same rate. How do you take a spider from Earth and just accidentally release it onto another planet in another freaking star system? You don't just accidentally do that, okay? Wolf. Though nearly twice the size of their progenitors, the Stranamekti wolf is otherwise identical to Terran wolves. Wolf packs roam both the northern and southern continents, and the Krenskis considered them the epitome of the warrior spirit. Wolverine. Wolverines were introduced to the forests of Stranamekti, where they flourished, growing in size and ferocity. They were admired by warriors because they stood their ground against any intruder, no matter what its size or strength. The Wolverine clan is probably the not named clan which was annihilated. Probably. Okay, let's see how it's only 2 pages, but this last one, that's a lot. Terrible word. Okay, language. I guess these other ones open up as you progress, I would assume. Clan language. The root of clan language is what linguistics in the Inner Sphere referred to as Star League Standard English, a variation of English created by the Terran homogeny and spread by the influence of the Star League to become the parlance of government, commerce, and culture throughout the Inner Sphere. With the collapse of the Star League, the language quickly modularized into the countless languages and dialects now used throughout the Inner Sphere. Today, only our blessed order and the upper classes of the Inner Sphere use a language approximating Star League Standard English. The clans took this language with them when they left and treated it with the same reverence as they have for all things associated with the Star League. Talking to a clansman is like talking to a hollow from those bygone days. It is an amazing and sometimes eerie experience. This reverence for the language of their forefathers gave birth to a subtle but very striking taboo in clan society. The use of contractions is forbidden. I do not immediately recognize the total absence of I did not immediately recognize the total absence of contractions from their speech. In the first days of my association with the clans, warriors would blanch and others become visibly upset at my speech. I don't know. Okay. Even though the words I had used were not offensive. I soon realized this effect was produced by my use of contractions. In my first conversation with the Lord Master of Clan Wolf, I discovered the rationale behind this odd taboo. He explained, "We in the clans have learned almost from birth to revere the old Star League ways. Everything we do should in some way glorify the clans and the memory of the Star League. This specifically includes our speech, because we believe as strongly in the freedom of speech as do you really though? Because we believe as strongly in the freedom of speech and expression as did the Star League." I don't think so, reading the past stuff I read. To slight the beauty of the language with contractions is to treat it as your people in the inner sphere treated the memory of the Star League. You have cut out its heart and reduced it to a cultural contraction, devoid of beauty and the best of its meaning. Only someone wishing to deliberately scorn the language and shock the listener would use contractions. This does not mean that the clans have allowed the language to stagnate. Over the years, the Krenskis and the clans have added terms to express unique clan concepts. These words come from a wide variety of languages, especially Russian and Mongolian. Some are military terms adapted for common use. Others are formed by splicing together two words from a third to form a third. These added words sometimes create the effect of listening to a completely foreign tongue. Clan warriors also have a battle language, with which I was much more comfortable. Like warriors in the inner sphere, clan warriors use a wide range of acronyms, hyphenations, splices, and buzzwords to convey the most meaning in the least number of words. Clan warriors' battle language is so quick and complex that even when inner sphere forces are able to intercept clan communications, they seldom understand what they mean. Here. Glossary. The language of the clans is based on what is known as Star Language Standard English, but we already know this. But they have added many words unique to their culture. Some were adapted by the Krenskis from the Russian language and military terminology. All these words represent the Krenskis' efforts to express concepts they felt were lacking from Star League Standard English. The following list includes the terms used by the warrior caste and other useful explanations of clan concepts. This list is not exhaustive and does not reflect the many differences in terminology existing between the various clans. Clan military unit structure is as follows. Point: 1 mechs or 5 infantry. Star: 5 mechs or 25 infantry. Binary: 2 stars. Trinary: 3 stars. Cluster: 4 to 5 binary trinaries. Galaxy: 3 to 5 clusters. Nova: 1 mech star and 1 infantry star. supernova, 1 mech binary, and 2 infantry stars. All that just goes over my head. This is... I'm not reading all these words that I don't really know. I'm not going to be able to... Okay, fine, I'll try. Aptica. And Aptica is a captured warrior who is adopted into his new clan as a warrior. Bachal. The Bachal is the ritual by which clan warriors issue combat challenges. Though the type of challenge varies, most begin with the challenger identifying himself, stating the prize of the contest, and requesting that the defender identify the forces of his disposal. This is just going over everything we've already done. The defender also has the right to name the location of the trial. The two sides then bid for what forces will participate in the contest. The subcommander who bids to fight with the least number of forces wins the right and responsibility to make the attack. The defender may increase the stakes by demanding a prize of equal or lesser value if he wins. Blood heritage. The history of the blood name. Warriors of a particular blood right is called the blood heritage. Blooding. Blooding is another name for the trial position that determines if a warrior candidate will qualify as a clan warrior. The candidate must first demonstrate physical prowess in personal combat by defeating at least one of 3 successive opponents. If he defeats 2 or all 3, he is immediately ranked as an officer in his clan. If he fails to defeat any of his opponents, he is relegated to a lower caste. If the candidate is successful in the trial, a complex ceremony takes place. He or she must be ritually defended by several clan warriors when challenged by other representatives of the clan, or else face those representatives in mortal combat. Okay, blood name, blood right, bondsman, I know what those are, canister, caste. Okay. Blood name refers to the surname of each of the 800 warriors who stood with Nicholas Kerensky during the Exodus Civil War. These 800 are the foundation of the clan's elaborate breeding program. The right to use one of these surnames has been the ambition of every clan warrior since the system was established. Only 25 warriors, which corresponds to 25 birthrights, are allowed to use any one surname at one time. When one of the 25 blood-named warriors dies, a trial is held to determine who will assume that blood name. A contender must prove his blood name lineage, then win a series of duels against other competitors. Only blood-named warriors may sit on the clan councils or are eligible to become a Khan or Ilkhan. Most blood names have gradually become confined to 1 or 2 warrior classes, but certain prestigious names, such as Kerensky, have shown their genetic value by producing excellent warriors in all 3 classes: MechWarrior, Fire Pilot, and Elemental. Blood names are determined at least after the original generation. Because a warrior can only inherit from his or her female parent, he or she has a claim to only one blood name. A specific blood name lineage is called a blood right. 25 blood rights are attached to each blood name. A blood right is not a lineage as we define the term, because the warrior who successfully hold a blood right might be related only through their original ancestor. As with blood names, certain blood rights are considered more prestigious than others depending largely on the blood rights history. Bondsmen clans can keep prisoners taken during combat. These are called bondsmen and are considered members of the labor caste unless and until the capturing clan releases them or promotes them back to warrior status. A bondsman is bound by honor, not by shackles. Custom dictates that even blood-named warriors captured in combat be held for a time as bondsmen. All bondsmen wear a woven bracelet called a bond cord. The base color of the bond cord indicates to which clan the individual is now bound, and the striping indicates which unit captured him. Canister. Clan slang for the eugenics program of the warrior caste. It can also refer specifically to the artificial womb. Caste. Clan society is rigidly divided into 5 castes: warrior, scientist, merchant, technician, and laborer. Each caste has many subcastes, which are based on specialities within a professional field. The warrior caste is based on a systematic eugenics program that uses the genes of prestigious, successful, current, and past warriors to produce new members of the caste. See SIPCO. These products of genetic engineering are known as trueborns. Other castes maintain a quality gene pool by strategic marriages within each caste. Chalkas. Anything or anyone who challenges the clan caste system is considered a Chalkas. If that's how you pronounce that. Clans, Codex, Comstar, Contract. Clans. During the fall of the Star League, General Alexander Kerensky, commander of the regular Star League army, led his forces out of the inner sphere in what is known as the First Exodus. After settling beyond the periphery more than 1,300 light years away from Terra, Kerensky and his followers settled in a cluster of marginally habitable star systems near a large globular cluster that hid them from the hemisphere. Within 15 years, civil war erupted among these exiles, threatening to destroy everything they had worked so hard to build. So they had a civil war. That hasn't been, I mean, it's been mentioned maybe, but not explained. In a second exodus, Nicholas Kerensky, son of Alexander, led his followers to one of the worlds of the globular cluster to escape the new war. It was there on Strana Mekti that Kerensky first conceived and organized what would one day be known as the clan. So that's why that world is so important. Codex. The Codex is each warrior's personal record. It includes the names of the original blood-named warriors from within a warrior from which a warrior is descended. It also records background information such as the warrior's generation number, blood house and codex ID, and alphanumeric code noting the unique aspects of that person's DNA. The codex also contains a record of the warrior's military career. See also Master Codex. Comstar. Comstar, the Interstellar Communications Network, was the brainchild of Jerome Blake, formerly Minister of Communications during the latter years of the Star League. After the League's fall, Blake seized Terra and reorganized what was left of the communications network into a private organization that sold its services to the 5 successor houses for a profit. Since that time, Comstar has also devoted into a powerful secret society steeped in mysticism and ritual. Initiates to the quasi-religious Comstar order commit themselves to lifelong service. Contract. A contract is an agreement between the commanders of 2 units that allows the commander of one to include the units of the other in his bidding for rights to a battle or trial. During the invasion of the Inner Sphere, cluster commanders within galaxy frequently made contracts to allow greater and often more extravagant bidding, while still maintaining a good mix of battle mech, elemental, and fighter combat units. Cut down. The minimum force necessary to win any trial for which there has been a bidding. Bidders who can push their opponent into making a bid below the cut down are considered clever. Commanders who win with a force smaller than the cut down are greatly honored. Desgra, a fighting unit that disgraces itself, is known as a Desgra unit. The name also refers to the ritual whereby that unit is marked and punished. Any unit that refuses orders, panics in the face of the enemy, or takes dishonorable action is disgraced. Elementals. Elementals are the elite battle-suited infantry of the clans. These men and women are giants, bred specifically to handle clan-developed battle armor. Oh, that's cool. Freebirth. Freebirth is an epithet used by trueborn members of the warrior caste, generally expressing disgust or frustration. If a trueborn warrior refers to another trueborn as a free birth, it is a mortal insult. Freeborn. An individual conceived and born by natural means is freeborn. Because the clan values their eugenics program so highly, a freeborn is automatically assumed to have little potential. Gift take. This is the sample of DNA taken from a warrior who died with great glory in combat. The gift take is considered the warrior's best DNA sample and the one most likely to produce improved warriors. Hegera. Victorious clan warriors sometimes extended the courtesy of Hegera to defeated opponents. Hegera allows the opponent to withdraw honorably from the field without further combat or loss. Isorla. The spoils of battle that warriors can claim as their right, including bondsmen, are known as Isorla Khan. Each clan elects 2 leaders, or khans. One serves as the clan's senior military commander and bureaucratic administrator. The second khan's position is less well-defined. He or she is second in command, carrying out duties assigned by the first khan in times of great internal or external threat, or when a coordinated effort is required. It is required of all clans, and Ilkhan is chosen to serve as the supreme lore of the clans. Kurutai is a clan war council. The Grand Kurutai is a war council of all clans of the clans. Only the Ilkhan can conceive a Grand Kurutai at any time or place. A normal Grand Council, on the other hand, may only be convened by petition of 3 or more clans, and must be held in the Hall of Clans on Stranamekti. Lore Master. The Lore Master is the keeper of clan laws and history. The position is honorable and politically powerful. The Lore Master plays a key role in inquiries and trials, where he is often assigned the role of advocate or interrogator. Oath Master. The Oath Master is the honor guard for any official clan ceremony. The position is similar to that of an Inner Sphere Sergeant at Arms, but it carries a greater degree of respect. The Oath Master administers all oaths, and the Lore Master records them. The position of Oath Master is usually held by the oldest blood-named warrior in a clan, if he or she desires the honor, and is one of the few positions not decided by combat. Ovkan. This is a term of respect reserved for someone of higher rank. Powerless is the vulnerability that a warrior, particularly an elemental, feels when forced to fight without his accustomed weapons. The word is probably derived from powerless. This clan expression is placed at the end of rhetorical questions. If an affirmative answer is expected, quaff is used. If the answer is expected to be negative, quadneg is the proper closure. Whatever. Ransom. Clan custom dictates that a warrior who has been successful at the trial of Bloodrai may be rewarded with a gift by the clan, depending upon the warrior's success during the trial. The ransom might range from the right to choose what type of weapon he will use as a warrior to the right to command a special unit. At the time Khan Natasha Kerensky returned from the Inner Sphere and then underwent her second trial of Bloodrai, Ilkhan Ulrich Kerensky awarded her a ransom of the right to form the 13th Blood Guards. Reed, one of the many forms honor takes in the clans. A reed is an honor-bound promise. Breaking a reed may be punished by death. The Remembrance. The Remembrance is an ongoing heroic saga detailing clan history from the time of the Exodus from the Inner Sphere to the present day. The Remembrance is continually expanded to include contemporary events. Each clan has a slightly different version reflecting their own opinions and experiences. All clan warriors can quote whole verses of this marvelous epic from memory, and it is common to see passages from the book lovingly painted on the sides of omni-mechs, fighters, and even battle armor. Rastar. This term refers to a particularly gifted warrior on his or her way to high position. It is probably derived from the expression rising star. Satara. The clan council may cast a veto or Satara to settle or postpone disputes between castes within their jurisdiction. Satara is invoked only when negotiations seem at an impasse or threaten to dispute the work order of the clan. It seems to be more a ritual than an act of legislation. Savashri, a clan epithet. Sela. This word is the ritual response voiced in unison by those witnessing solemn clan ceremonies, rituals, and other important gatherings. No one is sure of the origin or exact meaning of the word, but it is uttered only with the greatest reverence and awe. Sipko. A Sipko consists of a group of children produced from the same male and female gene parents in the warrior caste eugenics program. The members of the Sipko are raised together, then begin to undergo constant testing. As various members of the Sipko fail at each test, they are transferred to the lower castes. The Sipko consists of approximately 20 members, but usually only 4 or 5 remain at the time of the final test to become warriors. The trial of position. These tests and other adversities may bond the surviving Sibkin together. Stravag, a clan epithet, probably a combination of the clan words strain, meaning independent, and vagon, meaning birthing. Surkai. The Surkai is the right of forgiveness. The clans honor uniformity in thought and belief above all else is their society. When warriors disagree, when a clan disagrees with the clan council, or when a member of one caste offends a member of another caste, Surkai is expected. It is a matter of pride in that the offending party freely admit his wrongdoing and request punishment. Those who show great Surkai are held up as examples to others for their willingness to accept the consequences of their independent thoughts. Those who do not show Surkai when it is expected of them are viewed with suspicion. Surkai reed, the reed of forgiveness, or Surkai reed, is the honor-bound agreement between the majority and any dissenters. According to the Surkai reed, once a dissenter accepts punishment for having disagreed with the majority, he should be allowed to resume his role in society without suffering any further disgrace for having spoken out. Cowman, the term given to the fighting arm of the clan. Trial of Bloodrot. A series of one-on-one single elimination contests determines who wins the right to use a blood name. Each current blood-named warrior in that blood-name's house nominates one candidate. The head of the house nominates additional candidates to fill 31 slots. The 32nd slot is fought for by those who qualify for the blood name but who were not nominated. The nature of the combat is determined by coining. Each combatant places his personal medallion or dogits into the well of decision. An Oath Master or Lore Master releases the coins simultaneously so that only chance determines which coin falls first to the bottom of the well. The warrior whose coin lands on top chooses the manner of the combat: mech versus mech, barehanded, mech versus elemental, and so forth. An elemental can take on a mech. The other warrior chooses the venue of the contest. Though these blood-name duels need not be to the death, the fierce combat and the intensity of the combatants often leave the losing candidate mortally wounded or dead. Trial position. Trial position determines whether a candidate will qualify as a warrior in the clans. To qualify, he must defeat at least one of 3 successive opponents. If he defeats 2 or all 3, he is immediately ranked as an officer in his clan. If he fails to defeat any of his opponents, he is relegated to a lower caste. Trial of possession. The trial resolves conflicts in which 2 or more clans claim the right to the same thing, be it territory, a warrior's genes, or even supremacy in a difference of opinion. This trial uses the formal challenge of the attacker and the response of defending forces, and favors those commanders from the attacking clan skillful enough to bid minimal forces. Trial of refusal. The clan councils and the grand council vote on issues and laws that affect the community. Unlike intersphere legislation, however, any decision can be challenged and reversed by trial refusal. This trial allows the losing side to demand the issue be settled by combat. The forces used in trial refusal are determined on a prorated basis. The faction rejecting the decision declares what forces they will use. The side defending the decision, the attacker, can field a force equal to the ratio of winning to losing votes. For example, if the contested vote carried by a 3-to-1 margin, the attacking forces can field a force 3 times the size of the force challenging the decision. Bidding usually results in a smaller attacking force. None of that is confusing at all. Trothkin? Used formally, this term refers to members of a extended sibkin. Less formally, a warrior will use the term Trothkin when referring to someone he considers his peer. Trueborn, true birth. A trueborn is a product of the warrior caste's eugenics program. Zell Brigand. This is the clan word describing the body of rules used to regulate and ritualize duels. Zellbrigand means that combatants engage in one-on-one duels even if both sides have many warriors. Those not immediately challenged are honor-bound to stay out of the battle until an opponent is free, meaning he has defeated his enemy. To attack an enemy already engaged with an opponent is a major breach of clan code, usually resulting in at least loss of rank. Well, that took forever. Okay. Oh my god, that was only clan history. And that wasn't even all of it. I think I've made a terrible mistake reading all of this. Well, I'll learn a lot of things. And that's the clan history of MechWarrior. And I'm not reading all of this. I'm not doing it. It would take forever. Like maybe here and there I'll do it, but I'm not going to do a video on it. I don't even know if I'll keep this video. But if you listen to the whole thing, you're insane. So, okay. See you later.